It is the season premiere of the Off the Bench podcast. Chris Miller and our special guest for episode 1 of this season, Kristaps Porzingis. What's good, KP?
How are you, Chris?
I'm doing well, man. Thank you so much for spending some time with us. You know, it's kind of interesting. We were talking before we came on camera really about like the off season and what it entails. You've done a lot of traveling already before we're getting ready to embark on this trip to Japan. Just share with everybody what your summer was like.
Yeah, long summer, long off season. Finished early, went to Spain for a month, started working out there, working on my body, working on my game. Then went home. June, July, August was back home in Latvia. Had the national team windows. Played there, supported the team in the first window, played in the second window. Had a great workouts, great team practices to get a good rhythm before the season. And yeah, went to Greece for 3-4 days with my family. And now I'm here, about 10 days and ready to go.
How do you kind of decompress from a season? Like how much time do you normally take where you can kind of like get away from basketball? And then when do you start your ramp up again?
I don't like to take too much off because I'm never really like burnt out after the season. It's mostly about just taking care of little things maybe that you have going on during the season. So I make sure my body's recovered from the season, and then I get back into training. It might not be basketball right away, but I'll start maybe swimming. I'll do different stuff. I'll run a little bit, just kind of things to get away maybe a little bit from basketball to miss it again, and then I get back in the gym, start working on my game again. I
love the swimming part of it that you talk about because it's like you get the cardio up, but yet you're not doing a lot of straining on your muscles.
Exactly.
Like when did you start getting into swimming?
I used to swim when I was a kid, so it's kind of always been like a hobby of mine. And you know, the summers are beautiful back home in Latvia. I get in the sea, in the Baltic Sea, or any kind of water, and yeah, it's good for the body. It relaxes me, and I really enjoy it.
It's really peaceful too. Like when you're in the water and you're kind of like in your thoughts and stuff like that.
It is.
I remember when you first got here. We sat here when you first got to town. And you said you put the uniform on, and it felt comfortable to you. What was it about coming to D.C. where you just felt like right away this would be a place where you could really probably be the best version of yourself?
I don't know what it was. I don't have the answer to that question, honestly. I think it was maybe the hospitality that I was received here with. I would say that because I don't have an explanation, honestly. But when I came here, I did feel like at home right away. It was weird. Got to know everybody super quickly. The transition was just super smooth, and also just jump into the season right away, started playing, got accustomed, had those 2 months of just getting used to the city, getting used to playing at our arena, the practice facility, and yeah, now going into my, I don't know, 3rd, 4th month with the team. Actually, I already feel like I've been here for a long time. It's weird.
Yeah, we're so excited because we get a chance to finally see you and Brad play together. But for some of the other players that you had a chance to kind of use those games to kind of learn their games and stuff. I want to start with like 𝗙𝗢𝗟𝗪. Like, what was that like? I know he missed like the last 13 games, but that time that you guys were together, what did you learn about him?
He's great. He's vocal. He's always talking, which is an important part, communication. And yeah, and what I really like about him, he's always trying to be the best version of himself. You know, whatever he's doing, he's always trying to improve. He's always listening. He's always picking up stuff and yeah, and being vocal on both ends of the floor. And we're all encouraging each other to be that way because a great team needs to be talking a lot and being loud, especially on the defensive end. And I think that's one thing that I saw that we can do better from last year coming into this season. And we're already talking about it. Even at the first dinner that we had as a team, we talked about it, that we have to lead this team and show how it's done and be loud and be communicating. And yeah, we're looking forward to showing that on the floor.
As you know, being a veteran, you know, you can have a team dinner in the beginning of the year to really kind of have like role definition. This is who we want to be. But man, when you get into those dog days is when you should probably really kind of lean on really early in the season. What were the things that we were talking about? Like last year, you got to play with a lot of these young guys who now had that experience.
Right.
And now there's an expectation now for the 𝗙𝗎𝗄s, the 𝗙𝗎𝗍s, the 𝗎𝗎s of the world to really kind of elevate their game. What have you seen so far in camp from the younger players?
I think everybody is taking a step forward. Everybody realizes that there's more talent on this team than maybe last year, so there's more pressure on you to show the coach that you've earned those minutes that you're going to get, you know, or earn your minutes while we're here in training camp and so on. So it's very competitive. Everybody wants to play. Everybody wants to prove that they can do good on the court, and that pushes everybody. That pushes everybody, especially the young guys. And yeah, during the season, I think most of the guys already have enough experience where we know that things are going to go south, you know, at some point, sooner or later it will. And just to be mentally prepared for that, and those are the moments that we all have to catch and be mindful of, that's where the true character shows of the team, you know, and those are the moments that we have to stay together, push through, and, you know, and better times will come.
So you're back home in the summer, and I see a picture of Coach Unseld making the trek to your home country to spend some time. I think you guys went to dinner. That was the first time we saw the beard. We'll talk about that in a moment. But to have your head coach take time out of, because we all know, we really only get 1 month technically off, which is like August. But for him to take that time to fly over, how invaluable was that, and what did you take most out of it?
Oh, it was great. It was great. He spent some time with us as the national team, with the national team coach, 𝗙𝗢𝗟𝗏𝗪, with myself. You know, of course, we were in a rhythm of almost starting the games, and so we were kind of tight schedule. But we got to spend some valuable time together, some dinners, some good talks, and had some fun. And for him to go all the way to Latvia from here, you know, making that trip, it shows, you know, that he cares and he wants to build that relationship. So when stuff does go south during the season, we can push through it and have that relationship.
What do you need out of him in year 2, and what does he need out of you now, this being your second season here in DC?
I think he expects me to be even a better version than I was the last 2 months that I was here, you know. I think I played at a great level. I think I can be even better, you know, playing alongside Brad. Yeah, making the game easier for Brad, for Kuz, for the rest of the guys, opening up shots, and giving my all on the defensive end. I think Wes and everybody else is translating that to us, that we want to be a better defensive team. A winning team is a defensive team, and that's our goal. And I expect myself to be at a high level defensively.
I heard Brad recently say, good luck to the league trying to figure out me and Porzingis, because it just looks on paper like, which one are you going to try to key on, because the other one is so skilled. What do you think it would be like, or what has it been like so far in training camp playing with a guy like Brad?
Yeah, we're building that chemistry. You know, it's going to maybe take a little bit of while and play competitive games, and it's going to take maybe some time, but I'm excited about that dynamic, you know. And as he said, they're going to have to pick what they take away. If they take away this, oh, then we get that. If they're both guys are guarding Brad, I'm going to get a wide open shot. So to create that chemistry and that feel for each other, where we could just, without saying a word, read each other, that's when we're really going to be special, I believe.
Do you look at the Japan games as an opportunity for this team to kind of bond? I mean, it's like, really, it's kind of like us against the world, right? Like, we're in this group together. How do you approach being in Japan for a week?
I think, yeah, use that time, of course, to have fun and enjoy a little bit of the culture, but to build team chemistry off the floor. We're going to be probably together most of the time. Use that time, yeah, to build that team chemistry, team bonding. It's a weird preseason comparing to a regular one, so why not use it and spend some time together and get a feel for each other off the court. Again, it's going to help us in tough moments during the season, so I think it's going to help us.
Let's get off the court a little bit. I recently heard you talk about your older brother and how much of an impact he has had on your life. I kind of want to start in the beginning. First of all, what's his name?
Giannis.
Giannis.
Yeah.
And what was it specifically about him growing up where you wanted to, one, play with his numbers, the number 6, right, and what he did for your family?
Yeah, he was a huge influence, especially on myself, because I am 13 years younger than him, so there's a big gap between us. And he was always kind of the leader, you know, in our family. And yeah, you know, we had some tough times, as many people did, you know, in that area of the world, growing up. And the memories are that he was kind of the one that was taking us out of those, you know, tough moments also, you know, financially and emotionally and so on. So for me, as a kid growing up, I saw that. I saw how much he was helping the family, and that stuck with me so deeply that I said, okay, I want to play basketball, and I want to be a professional player to be able to help the family, to be able to retire my mom and dad and take care of everybody. So that really left a strong influence on me, and you know, we'll, as a family, we'll always be, you know, grateful for him and what he did and what he continues to do. So now it's also in my hands to keep doing the same thing.
So I have to know, because there's a 13-year gap, when he watches you play, how is the critique? Is it just, I'm just a proud big brother, or because he played, he's like, you got to box out, you got to get more rebounds? Yeah. What's that dynamic like?
He, of course, when he sees something, he tells me, but he finds like a smooth way to say it, because, you know, of course, I'm maybe a higher level player than he ever was, so he doesn't want to say stuff that maybe he thinks that I could know better. Right. So only the little details that maybe I'm missing, he'll mention to me. But yeah, we talk about basketball, and he's, you know, I always take his advice.
What is Kristaps Porzingis' happiest moment playing basketball? Like, when did you have the real joy of the game?
Maybe it's recency bias now, but when I was playing now for the national team, the feeling that you get from playing in the national team, it's a bit different than playing for the club, you know. You get goosebumps, you got your own like nation, your own country's fans, you know, cheering, and the passion is crazy. You can get that feeling in the playoffs, you know. So I think what I'm looking forward to is getting that same feeling with the team also, you know, getting the crowd into the game a lot, like, and feeling those emotions. And so I would say recently it was playing with the national team. Next one is I'm looking forward to having some highlight moments during the regular season and then making it to the postseason.
When you play on the new team and there's some other guys that come from other teams, and I kind of like look at you guys during practice here, and I see you, I see Will Barton, I see Monte Morris, I see DeLon Wright, and like, you know, as long as I've covered the league, I've seen you guys play for other teams. What's it like when you like are now putting a Wizards uniform on? Has there ever been like a talk like, man, I remember I busted your behind back in December when I was playing for the Mavericks? Or what's it like when different guys now come to a new team?
Yeah, of course. You talk about the games that you had against each other, and especially if there was some poster dunk or something like this, you know. So I remember when I came, DG, he dunked on me pretty bad last season when I was still with Dallas. So in one of the, I think it was against Dallas, the pregame against Dallas, me as a Wizard already, coaching staff put that highlight on there. That's what we're gonna do to the Mavs. I was like, come on, man, why do you have to put that highlight on there? So we had some fun. We always have some fun with those kind of situations, you know, and yeah, and you come together, and I think you always learn even more. You know, you see those guys as real, like, humans also, not just a player, you know. You get a feel for them, and you understand how their mind works a little bit, and that way build that chemistry as teammates.
Any Dallas, Denver battles that you can remember with Monte?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's always tough to play in Denver because of the altitude, and those guys are always, you know, they're used to playing at home there. We definitely had some good battles, and I remember one of the last games, actually, I think I played for Dallas in Denver. I had a great game. I had a couple of deep threes late in the game and kind of sealed the game. So thank you for bringing that up. I'll tell Monte that, yeah, I remember that game.
I want to briefly just talk about international players and how you guys have just really set a standard of how the game should be played. When I think of you, I think of Luka, I think of Giannis, I think of Jokic. Like, what is it about the international style that has kind of helped you guys kind of, you know, really get into the NBA and have success?
I think the way we're brought up is a bit different than the guys maybe going through the AAU programs and then the NCAA. I think also there's a lot of talent in Europe. The most talented guys like Luka, Jokic, they always make it, and they always make it to the highest level. And you know, but there's a lot of talent that's halfway, like borderline, maybe NBA, but sometimes you don't have that luck. So in the transition from the youth to the pros, and you get on a team where you don't play as much, you lose a bit of confidence. So it happens to some guys, you know. The most talented ones always, of course, make it most of the time, I would say. But I think you learn you pick up the professional basketball a bit quicker than guys here. They play NCAA, you're competing against 20-year-olds or 19-year-olds or whatever. There in Europe, you might be an 18-year-old playing against a 30-year-old, you know, and grown man, and that way you need to pick up things quicker, and the schemes are different. So there's a difference. And it helps us, I think, to transition to the NBA when we do come here. We are already kind of used to that kind of basketball, even though, of course, the athletes here are at a different level even. But there's a lot of things that we could take from that European basketball and make the transition easier.
What's the luxury of being able to speak 3 different languages?
It's the best. I mean, I could understand pretty much most of the world speaking, you know, Spanish, English, those 2 languages already give me an advantage. I can go almost anywhere in the world and speak them. You know, Latvian is back home, obviously, and family and friends. But yeah, it's a privilege, and I'm glad that I maybe had a good. I'm pretty good with languages, I would say. Yeah. So I was able to pick up Spanish pretty easy, and now I have, you know, I'm fluent in 3 languages.
So memo, folks, if you're ever in a bar or restaurant and you're talking in Spanish or English or even Latvian, KP understands it. And
be careful around me.
Be careful. Finally, who am I to judge? But I love it. When did it start? How long are you going to keep it? Yeah. And will you ever just go all season? You know how like hockey players just go hockey playoff beard? Will you ever get a Porzingis playoff beard?
I don't think I would do that, but it started in August. For some reason, my girlfriend kind of convinced me, hey, let it grow for a little bit. 1 week go by, 2 weeks, 3rd week, I'm like, this is getting nowhere. It's looking terrible. And my girlfriend's like, just keep it for 1 more week. And my barber was also like, 1 more week, just give it 1 more week. And then the following week, he cleaned it up a little bit, that. I'm like, okay, this is starting to look like something. So I said, okay, maybe we can leave it. And now I kind of go back and look at the old pictures and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, now I have to keep it. I know, no way I'm going back to that baby face.
I remember when I saw you, I was like, you still look young, but it's kind of like it's cool. It looks.
Looks a bit, yeah.
You look a little tougher.
Yes,
you know, a bearded unicorn. I've never heard of that before. Thanks so much for your time, KP. I appreciate it, man.
Yes,
Best
sir.
of luck this season.
Appreciate
Looking forward to seeing you again.
Yes, sir. Thank you.